Imagine moving into your dream home in a master planned community. Everything is perfect. The grass is green. The streets are quiet. I'm a veteran, and for me, the very first thing I did was install a simple 6-foot American flagpole. That flag isn't just fabric. It represents every sacrifice made, every piece of freedom earned. It was a beautiful, small symbol of pride right there on my front lawn. That perfect piece lasted exactly 4 days. I came home to find a formal envelope taped to my door, sealed with the official HOA crest. It felt heavy, not just with paper, but with impending trouble. Inside, the title screamed, "Immediate compliance required, architectural violation." The offense? My flagpole was an unapproved exterior fixture, and a deviation from aesthetic standards. The ultimatum: remove the flag and pole within 7 days, or face an initial fine of $10,000 USD, $10,000 for an American flag. My blood ran cold, then immediately boiling hot. This wasn't just a fine. It was a brazen, direct attack on my constitutional rights and my history as a veteran. The HOA wasn't maintaining standards. They were exercising tyranny. This was the moment I realized I wasn't dealing with neighbors. I was dealing with petty dictators, and they just made the biggest mistake of their corporate lives. The confrontation with General Karen and the federal law shield, my first instinct was confrontation. I immediately called the number for the HOA president, a woman named Karen, who had clearly signed the notice. Let's call her General Karen, because her demeanor was that of an unyielding commander. I kept my voice level, asking her to kindly check the federal freedom to display the American Flag Act of 2005. I explained that as a property owner and a veteran, my right to display the flag was federally protected, and that their bylaw was unenforceable against it. Her response was chillingly arrogant. She dismissed the federal law with a single icy sentence. "Sir, our signed contractual bylaws supersede general federal guidelines regarding aesthetics. You agreed to abide by the community's standard, not just national sentiment. Remove the fixture, or we begin accumulating daily fines." That was the re-hook. She genuinely believed her little community rulebook held more weight than an act of Congress. I knew right then that a simple phone call wouldn't solve this. This was a deep-seated power trip. They weren't just trying to get me to take down a flag. They were testing the boundaries of my property rights and my personal resolve. I hung up the phone. I wasn't just going to remove the flag. I was going to bury the entire board under a mountain of legal paperwork. The deep dive into the bylaws, hunting for the loophole, the legal fight began not in the courtroom, but in my home office. I hired a specialized property rights lawyer known for taking on HOA tyranny. Before filing anything, we decided to get strategic. We dove into the 200 pages of the HOA bylaws, searching for any technicality that could be weaponized. We confirmed that the Flag Act was our ultimate defense, but a direct lawsuit would be slow. We wanted something faster and far more humiliating, and then my lawyer found it. A glorious, massive loophole in the document. The bylaws were obsessively detailed about permanent fixtures, flagpoles, sheds, antennas, which required official approval. But there was a shocking omission. They had almost zero restrictions on temporary, portable yard decorations, under a certain height and size, as long as they were not permanently cemented into the ground. My lawyer's face lit up. They wanted to play a game of technical compliance. We'll drown them in it. This discovery meant I could legally install hundreds of yard decorations that just so happened to be the American flag. The simple $10,000 fine was about to cost them a fortune and their dignity. Operation 107 Flags, the technical counter strike. The plan was simple, brutal, and perfectly legal. I immediately went on a shopping spree, not for construction material, but for patriotism. I bought every single small, pole-mounted American flag that fit the yard decoration criteria. I bought flower pots, concrete planters, and anything that could hold a portable pole. For the next 2 days, I meticulously transformed my front lawn. I lined the entire sidewalk with flags. I placed flags in the flower beds. I flanked my mailbox and the main porch with massive clusters. Each flag was placed in a planter, making it portable and therefore a temporary yard decoration. The final count was 107 individual American flags, each one technically complying with the very bylaws the HOA was trying to use against me. The effect was stunning. My entire street became a brilliant wave of red, white, and blue. Passers-by stopped to cheer. I was waiting on my porch, holding the rulebook, ready for the inevitable visit from General Karen. This was no longer passive resistance. It was a full-scale, legally compliant declaration of war. The hysterical confrontation and the federal lawsuit, they arrived in a convoy. General Karen, the HOA Vice President, and a nervous-looking board member. Karen stopped dead in her tracks, her jaw dropping at the sight of my 107 flags. She shrieked, pointing wildly, "This is an act of aggression, a public nuisance. This is completely unacceptable. You will be fined $10 a day for excessive display." I calmly stepped off the porch and showed her the open page in her own rulebook concerning temporary decorations. I challenged her. "Which specific regulation am I violating, General? Point it out. Because if you fine me for this, you are confirming your association is actively discriminating against the American flag itself." She couldn't do it. She only threatened more subjective fines. That was the last mistake. Right there, on my lawn, my lawyer, who was standing discreetly by, served the 3 board members with documents. We were filing a massive lawsuit in federal court. The charges were serious: violation of the Flag Act, constitutional rights violations, and abuse of process. Their petty attempt to save $10,000 just cost the community thousands in legal fees. The courtroom takedown and the precedent, the courtroom was electric. The HOA lawyer, clearly out of his depth, tried to argue that my actions were malicious compliance, intended to harass the board. My lawyer didn't even flinch. He simply read the Flag Act into the record and presented the photos of their $10,000 fine notice. The judge, a stern but fair woman, tore into the HOA defense. She pointed out that their attempt to silence a veteran's patriotic display was an egregious overreach and a clear violation of federal law. The core of her ruling was a legal masterclass. She tossed out the original fine, threw out all the subsequent fines for public nuisance, and ordered the HOA to pay for all $50,000 of my legal fees. But the real victory, the part that made the crowd gasp, was the final ruling. The judge stated that since the HOA initiated the dispute over the proper display and aesthetics of the flag, they must ensure the flag is maintained with the proper dignity. Flag maintenance, duty, and legacy, the final ruling, the one that made General Karen's face turn purple, was the ultimate revenge. The judge ordered that the HOA budget would be responsible for the annual cleaning, maintenance, and replacement of my main American flag display for the next 10 years. She had to pay to clean the very symbol she tried to ban. This lawsuit didn't just stop their bullying. It set a powerful legal precedent and became a rallying cry for homeowners fighting restrictive HOA everywhere. Today, my beautiful flag stands tall, permanently approved, and every single year I receive a notice from the HOA, no longer a fine, but an invoice confirming the payment for the flag's professional maintenance. That flag is no longer just a symbol of freedom. It's a permanent monument to the day a veteran stood up to tyranny and made his petty dictators pay for their own humiliation. What's your verdict on this case? Did the HOA cross the line? Let me know in the comments section below. Type flag freedom and tell me your worst HOA nightmare. Let's discuss it.